Okay, we're live. Uh-oh, we've been live for 8 seconds. I am going to hit live on Instagram. And those of you on Facebook, just hang tight. And we're going to get started here in a second. All right. Hello, Facebook. Hello, Instagram. Hello, YouTube. Those of you watching the replay, I'm Jessica Perez-Beebe. You can get my live coaching right here inside of the Facebook group and on Instagram. And later in the week on YouTube, I go live every Thursday inside of my closed Facebook group, Manifest Your New Mindset. So here's what we're talking about today. And I love this topic so much. It keeps coming up again and again in all of my coaching relationships, in relationships that I have with colleagues, even in personal relationships. And so it's something that I want to tackle. But first of all, how you guys digging my winter hat with my winter background, even though it's actually pretty warm here today in Oregon. I'm in Hood River, Oregon. If anybody knows it and wants to give me a shout out, go ahead and do that. So today we're talking about confidence and really busting all the myths out there about confidence. And what I'm going to share with you is how you can actually skyrocket your confidence regardless of how frightened you are or how unskilled you feel right now. So this topic is for you if you know that you've been holding yourself back. This topic is for you if you lack confidence to go after what you want, and if you have been waiting to feel more confident before you take action. If that's you, let me know in the comments. Do you feel like you lack the confidence to go after what you want, or that you are waiting until you are more confident to actually go after what you want? So let's start with busting confidence myths. I came up with 5 that I hear all the time. Number 1, I need to build up my confidence first, and then I'll take action. This comes up in everything, and it's one of the biggest mistakes that people make. It's one of the ways that they really hold themselves back. So these confidence myths that we're going to bust right now, recognize them in yourself. You're going to relate to 1 or 2 of these things if you feel like you've been held back because of lack of confidence. So one of the biggest mistakes is believing that you have to be confident before you take action. Biggest mistake ever. And we're going to talk about that as I go into how do you build up confidence. But it does not come from waiting. It does not work where confidence is first, action is second. It's the other way around. Okay. So if that's you, write that down. That is a flawed myth. We're busting through that. Number 2, when I look like this, when I have that, when I get this, then I will do it. Then I'll have the confidence to do it. How many of you have ever said that to yourself? Like, when I have this much money, or when I have this job, or when I have this skill, after I've studied for another 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, after I do more research, then I'll be ready. Then I'll have the confidence. If that's you, recognize that and write it down. Flawed concept. It's a myth. There's nothing wrong with planning and setting goals. You know that that's my area. I'm all about goal setting, not just setting goals, but actually executing on them. But what happens is, for most people, you have that kind of the self-talk, right? That self-talk of if or when I have it, then I'll do it. That's basically you just putting off doing something that you want or that's important because of the resistance that you have around it, right? I refer everybody to Stephen Pressfield's book, and I don't get any kickback from this. That's The War of Art. It talks about all the different ways in which resistance comes up in our life and keeps us held back from doing what it is we really want to do, the important stuff. We get caught up in busy work, things that make us feel like we're doing something when really we're not even inching anywhere closer towards the real goal, the thing that's really burning inside of us, the book, the career, the relationship, right? So when I look like this or when I have this, then I'll do it. That is just a way to avoid doing what it is you really want. Okay, that's the resistance piece. The third myth is that it takes a long time to build self-confidence. And that's not true. That's not true at all. It doesn't take a long time. It doesn't take years. Yes, you practice it, right? And you get more confident, but really it's about how frequently you actually take action that's going to indicate how quickly you develop confidence. Does that make sense? So how often you actually take action when you don't even feel confident. So you're doing things when you're afraid or when you're not ready. The more times that you do that, actually, the more confident you become. So myth number 4, some people were just born confident. I mean, come on. That is not the case. Everybody is born with the same capability, right? Yes, throughout the years, depending on how we're raised, what our experiences have been, maybe that can wear on our self-perception, what we believe is possible. This is why the bulk of what I do with people is all around mindset. But this is a piece that you really need to get. When you see people who are really seem confident or are doing things that appear that you would only do if you are confident, it's not that they were born with it. It's that they've taken the steps that actually lead to confidence, or they're really just out there doing things when they're not confident. I talk to people about this all the time. If you're waiting until you have the confidence to do something, you're most likely never going to do it. The confidence comes after you do the thing, after you get on the other side of it. So the fifth and final thing that I hear people say all the time, and this kind of ties into when I have this, then I will do that. And this is that confidence comes from education, right? Like the more educated I am, the more skilled I am. So I've got to get more education. I've got to take more courses. I've got to sign up for more stuff. I've got to gather more information. That's resistance. That's all that is. That's avoidance. The truth is, none of that matters when it comes to building confidence. None of that matters. Hi, guys on IG. I'm getting lots of waves. Hey, hey, hey. Throw me in some hearts and some likes if this is resonating with you on Facebook and on IG. So those are the 5 confidence myths. We're busting through them, and let's talk about what it takes to actually skyrocket your confidence. The truth is, confidence is earned. It's developed, and it's developed really from one thing, from taking action, from taking action. How many times have you stopped yourself from doing something, from pursuing something out of fear? Fear is the same thing. They're all one and the same. Lack of confidence, fear, all of that. It's all in that same area. The problem with that is that means you are waiting until you're not afraid. You're waiting until you feel 100% comfortable. You're waiting until you have all the answers. You're waiting until you have more education. You're waiting until you have this big burst of inspiration, motivation that's just going to carry you through. But that's not how it happens. That's not how it happens. Confidence comes from taking risks. It comes from doing the hard stuff, the scary stuff, even when you don't know how it's going to turn out, even when you don't have all the answers, right? It's doing it anyway, being afraid and doing it anyway. And the reason you get confidence that way is because you actually complete that task. You actually prove to yourself that you can do it. Whatever happens as a result, That's feedback for you going forward. But you are on the other end of it, right? You survived. And 9 times out of 10, it goes far better than you had drummed up in your head. Most of that fear and anxiety, in fact, almost all of it comes from what you are telling yourself. You're creating a false expectation. You're creating the expectation, but you're creating a false sense of fear by the things that you tell yourself, right? It's like the anticipation is more scary than actually being there in that moment. And I can think of that for myself in many situations, right? So almost everything I do for the first time, I'm not confident about. Maybe not even the second or third time. I'm out there doing it when I'm afraid. I'm out there doing it with my knees shaking. I'm out there doing it like maybe feeling foolish, not knowing what's going to happen. But guess what happens? I get confident as a result of doing it. I wasn't confident the first time I spoke on stage or the second time or the third time, right? But what happened is, as a result of doing it the first time and surviving and realizing that, wow, that wasn't even half as bad as I thought, and it made a difference for someone, then when I go to do it the second time, I'm more confident in the sense that I know I can do it because I've done it before, right? So the confidence comes from the action. I'll be putting on my first 2-day live event that I'm so excited about, April 6th and 7th in Portland, Oregon, for new and aspiring coaches. And it's the first time that I will have done anything like that. And it's going to be mostly people who've never seen me before, don't know anything about me. And so am I confident about that model, about that new model that I'm going to be exploring for my business growth? No, because I've never done it. I've never done it before. Guess when I'll be confident? After I do it. And I'll be able to tell other people about it and how they can do it. And I'll do it a second time and I'll tweak it and I'll make it better. And my confidence in that particular skill improves. Right? So do you see what I'm saying here? Is action or confidence is earned through action. Confidence is developed through action. Write that down. Confidence is developed through action. You've got to take the action first, and then you'll be confident. Now, with that being said, I want to share with you one tool that I use that is part of pretty much how I do anything new, anything that is different or new to me that I feel nervous about. I start everything with a visualization exercise. And I teach this to my clients. I do one-on-one sessions called vivid visualization, where you manifest what it is that you want, starting with the visualization process. And it is so powerful. If this is not something you have ever experienced or been guided through, this is something I can support you with. I'll throw a link here and you can click on that and book a call with me. And we'll talk about what the session would be like. And if it's something that you want to do, I'm going to be throwing up a bunch of testimonials that I've gotten from people just in the last week, because I've done a bunch of these vivid visualization sessions with people, and they are having like results right away. One of my clients, Rhonda, now we did her session, like 3-4 months ago now. It was such a powerful vision. When we went through the exercise, she had no idea some of the things that were going to come up in that. And she had a vision for a property that she wanted to purchase for her company. She had never purchased anything before. It was the scariest thing in the world to her, but she saw it and she saw everything in detail through the questions that I take her through the journey that I take her through. I mean, it's really powerful and transformative. And she got a vision of this property, and 2 weeks later, it might have been 1 week, I'm going to share the testimonial. She was talking to someone in her community, and there was a property that was available for sale that exactly matched her description. She closed on this property last month and is in the process right now of doing renovations, of staffing it. I mean, this is a huge deal for her, particularly someone who was so blocked in her mindset when she started working with me last year about what was possible. In fact, when we started working together, she lacked the confidence to charge what she was worth, what her services were worth. So her business was going down. She was struggling. She couldn't keep up with it. Her husband told her, why don't you just call this one of your hobbies, which really pissed her off. And I loved that because it really ignited a fire in her reaching out and looking for a coach. In fact, she was recommended to a business coach who then said, no, you need a mindset coach, because it all starts there. So to go from not having the confidence to following the actions that I gave her so that she could build the confidence, and to infusing that with the visualization work. I mean, within 3 months, she had doubled, listen up, she had doubled her income from the previous year within 3 months of working with me. This is the power of having the right coach, number one, but it's the power of learning how to use your mind. You've got to train yourself to think differently. You've got to train yourself to think in a way that creates results. You've got to train yourself to think in a way that looks for solution, not problem, right? So when you feel like you're lacking confidence, look for the solution. And here's the hint. The solution is taking action. So what action can you take right now? Can you commit to taking? What action can you commit to taking that will move you forward in earning and developing the confidence that you desire? And start by visualizing what it is that you want. Visualize yourself as that confident person. For me, part of my preparation for this first 2-day workshop that I'm doing is not just all the content and the structure and all of that. For me, the majority of the preparation is here. It's in my vivid visualization work, because I know that I don't need to feel confident about it. I know that that's going to come after I get on stage and I serve the people that are there and I help them, right? And what helps me go into it feeling confident enough to not need to feel confident, does that make sense? Is the fact that I see through my vision what I want to create. And it always goes the way that I envision it. That doesn't mean that every little detail of timing and different logistics goes exactly as I imagine it. Sometimes it does. But what it means is the result is always exactly as I imagine it, and most times better. Because what I'm doing is I'm meeting the universe halfway, and the universe provides the rest. Okay? So if you have any questions about this topic, post them right here in the thread, and I'm going to go through and answer those questions. I can't see right now because I'm just using one system here, but I will go back through the thread and I will look for your questions. I will answer them. Even those of you who are watching the replay on YouTube, those of you on Instagram, you know that you can click the link in bio and send me questions there. And I am also going to put a link here in the Facebook group. If you are interested in one of these Vivid Vision sessions, it's a 90-minute session. I have limited spots open because most of February I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be in San Diego coaching leaders and entrepreneurs in a intensive leadership program. So I do have a few spots open. So I'm going to throw the link in, and first come, first serve. We'll hop on the phone. We'll talk about if it's right for you. And if it's not, I'll refer you to something else that can support you in building your confidence and in manifesting the result that you want in 2019. I'll see you next week, everybody. Have a great afternoon. Lots of love.